Ladies and gentlemen, we are live for another episode of Full Steam Ahead. I know you may be wondering where is Lorenzo. Just thoughts and prayers to Lorenzo. I know he's having some family issues right now. So just send your prayers and thoughts to Lorenzo and his family. But the show must go on. We are here. I will be leading the pack, so it'll be the first time. So it's just me today. So hopefully the comments get blown up with discussion because that's what's going to make the show running great, and just a lot of grace givings again. If you're just joining us, I see some people coming in. Just send your thoughts and prayers to Lorenzo and family. He's okay. It's just some family things going on, but we have a lot to talk about after, I would say, a crazy winter meetings. A lot of things that happened, unexpected things, but here we are. So Uncertain Astros features the name of the title. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Full Steam Ahead. Also, you can hear us on Spotify and Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But our objectives for today is going to be recap of the winter meetings first and foremost, and then where does Alex Bregman sign? Still, the goal was to get Alex Bregman before the winter meetings, and that hasn't happened yet. Juan Soto's out of the table, so now it opens up. It's going to be a bidding war for the top free agent. Now left is Alex Bregman. Also, the names Kyle Tucker and Framber Valdez came into trade discussions during this winter meetings, and then the Astros ended it with the Rule 5 draft, and they did draft a couple of 5 guys from that draft. But here we go, a jam-packed episode. Light up the comments. Let's show and get the show on the road. So, there we go. So, recap of the winter meetings. Dana Brown and Joey Espada had the floor when they had, and the biggest question of the winter meetings is, where are y'all with the Alex Bregman signing? And Joe Espada started it off by saying this, and I quote, obviously, biggest question, we're doing everything in our power to get that done. I know what he represents, what he means to this organization. I think Dana and the staff and all of us are on the same page, making this our number one priority. So we are trying really hard to bring Alex Bregman back. He also said this about Alex Bregman in the winter meetings. I try to stay neutral when it comes to that because I want Alex Bregman back as much as everyone in our city. But that's part of the business. That you never know. We are definitely making a push and hopefully can get this deal done at some point. So flood the comments. What do you think about Alex Bregman's chances of being back in Astro? Because honestly, I'm under 50%. Even with Dana Brown, and that comes with what Dana Brown has to say. So what Dana Brown had to say in the winter meetings. This is per Brian retired, of course. And I quote, it's difficult to think of what the work is like without Bregman. But we're still projected, even without Bregman, to win the division, Brown said. If we don't have him back, we'll definitely try to upgrade or improve. And we'll try to do the same at first base. Ultimately, we don't want to talk about life without Bregman until October because we still feel like we have a good shot. I don't know about you all, but at this point, I'm under 50% with Bregman. And Lorenzo agrees too when I talked to him before the show. Seeing the contracts that Willy Adames got of 7 years, 187 million. Seeing the extension Matt Chapman got 6 year, 151 million. And the Astros offer was 6 years, 156 million. So to me, Bregman is not going to be an Astro. And they've been okay with losing guys like George Springer, Carlos Correa, what's another one? Zach Greinke too. And I don't think Justin Verlander is coming back as well. But when you look at this team, this Astros team right here, it's like if they want to keep a guy like Bregman, they're going to have to spend the money. A team like the Yankees are going to offer him close to what he wants in $200 million contract. And I don't think the Astros are nowhere near that. At this point, it feels like it's giving me kind of like Oakland Athletic vibes. And like, don't get me wrong, I know they signed Christian Javier, I know they signed Jordan Alvarez and Jose Altuve, but part of your core is literally almost gone. Carlos Correa is gone, George Springer is gone, and now they're not making the case to bring in Alex Bregman back. And I will not be surprised if Alex Bregman wears a different uniform the rest of his career because that's the way it's looking like. And again, if you agree, disagree with me, flood the comments. Let's get this debate and conversation going. But to me, it's it's out of the question right now unless the Astros get out of their comfort zone and pay Alex Bregman what he wants. Because right now, 156 year, 156 million is not going to get it done, especially after Willy Adames. 7 years, 187 million. I know he's a tad bit younger, but that's the range that Astros would have gotten. So it was, to me, once Matt Chapman signed his extension with the Giants, that was the time that the Astros should have reached out for an extension, or even before the season started, because now Matt Chapman set the market, Willy Adames just elevated, and what's going to happen next is Alex Bregman is going to break Willy Adames' record there of 187 million. He's going to get more than that, I guarantee it, 100% sure. And I know Lorenzo agrees with me there, but I don't know. To me, after those Dana Brown remarks, it's like if they're already planning, like if they already know Alex Bregman's not going to be a Houston Astro, just by, if I go back to what Dana Brown said, he said, without, it's difficult to think what the work is like without Bregman, but we're still projected even without Bregman to win the division. So that tells me they're already kind of, hey, what we think about Plan B, Plan C, because Willy Adames is gone. That was initially their Plan B, so they're already past Plan B. They're Plan C, Plan D, Plan E. Like they're already looking for. And after Bregman is gone, they would have to make a trade because the third base market is not that. Because after that, Jorge Polanco was the next guy up. And like I said in the last podcast, we have replacing Alex Bregman with Jorge Polanco is like trading in your Porsche for a Ford Fusion. Again, no disrespect to Jorge Polanco. He's been a veteran in this league, but you cannot compare the two. You really can't. So that leads me to my next point. Kyle Tucker and Framber Valdez trade candidates. Now, it makes sense, but it was a surprise to me that the names came up because at this point, to me, the Astros are still in win-out mode. They've made it to the postseason almost every year in the past 7 years. The fact that even Kyle Tucker is a trade candidate speaks that they're not ready to give all this money out. Kyle Tucker is going to be a $400 million guy. Lorenzo thinks he'll be a $500 million guy, especially with that Juan Soto contract. And that Juan Soto contract literally elevated the market. And I'm sure if Mike Trout was in this market right now with Juan Soto, he would have been making more than Juan Soto because Mike Trout, when he was 26 years old, feedback was dominating the game. I guarantee it. Now, with this is, to me, if the Astros are not comfortable giving Alex Bregman a long-term contract over $200 million, they're definitely not going to pay Kyle Tucker. So then that speaks to the question of what do you do? So now the Astros, they're already thinking Alex Bregman might be out of the question. So if we lose that guy, who are we going to do to cover third base? Because now you have two hosts. If you lose Alex Bregman, you have two hosts you got to cover in the infield. That's going to be the two corners. You still need to find a guy for first base. You still need to find a guy for third base if you lose Bregman. And you still got to work around the outfield because as great defensively Jake Myers and Chas McCormick are, you need to have someone in center field that can be consistent. Joe Espada talked about during the winter meetings that they're going to try to give Jordan Alvarez less time in the outfield to, for his health, to preserve his knees and all that good stuff. So that's another fielder you have to replace there. And I'm not saying the Astros are in rebuilding mode. I feel like you can't never say that when you have Jose Altuve and Jordan Alvarez, guys like that, Framber Valdez too. But if you look at teams like New York who went to the World Series, when you look at teams like the Mets who just added Juan Soto, when you look at teams like the Phillies, the Dodgers, even the Guardians, you can say, those are guys that have a really deep lineup. They have very minimal holes in that order. Those are playoff teams. And if the Astros lose Bregman, replace him with Jorge Polanco, don't still have Kyle Tucker, that's not a team, in my opinion, that's not a team that's going to take them to the World Series. Because that lineup's not going to be strong enough. The pitching might be great, but that lineup's not going to be strong enough. So you're going to have to add some pieces here or there. And that's where the conversation of trading Kyle Tucker is. Because after 2025, if the Astros keep him, after 2025, he's going to be wearing a different uniform. He's not going to be an Astro after 2025. Even before 2025 starts, honestly, that might be a scenario as well. And that's because the Astros are not going to be paying Kyle Tucker. I mean, in my personal opinion, they should. I think Kyle Tucker is a valuable piece to any offense, honestly. Wherever he goes, Chicago, New York, that's gonna be an upgrade in the outfield. A power is literally a 5-2 player. Can hit, can run, can throw, can hit for power, contact, you name it. And he's left-handed. That's a quality. That's an all-star player right there. Unfortunately, injuries have gotten the best of Kyle Tucker. He was on his way to an MVP season before here to shut out. Albeit the Astros did play good without Kyle Tucker, that might be the reason why this idea of trading Kyle Tucker came up, because last year the Astros were an AL best 48-31 from June 4th to September 5th without Tucker. Now, if they lose Tucker without replacing him, do I think that could happen again? Probably not. A lot of great things had to happen for the Astros to achieve that without a big thumper in the lineup like Kyle Tucker. So now comes the question: what do? You're not going to sign him because you're definitely the Astros. If the Astros can't pay Bregman $200 million, the Astros definitely not going to pay Kyle Tucker $500 million or $400 million, whatever he wants and whatever he guarantees. Now, he's probably going to be making over $15 million for arbitration, because right now his arbitration case was $15 million last year. He's projected to make 17, so it's gonna skyrocket a little bit. He's gonna be a free agent after 25. So now Tanner Brown is like, this is a guy we need to move. He's one of our high leverage guys. If we trade him, we can get some either high leverage prospects or MLB ready guys. Now the Astros are open to hearing trades for both Kyle Tucker and Framber Valdez. Your ace and your meat of the order guy. So to me, that kind of sets a message. Although they did sign Jose Altuve, they did sign Yordan Alvarez long term, but again, those were 5-year contracts. That just tells, I guess, me as a sports writer, but I would say to the people out there, is that the Astros are not going to be a place where you can spend your entire career unless you're that outlier like Jose Altuve, because you're not gonna be too comfortable losing big prospects like that and be like, you're gonna be able to not spend money and be a World Series team. Just look at the people in the semifinals: Yankees, Dodgers, Mets. All those 3 guys, big spenders in the offseason. And what did that produce? A World Series team. Now, Jim Crane's not comfortable doing that. So, for Kyle Tucker, the Cubs, Yankees, and Phillies have both shown interest in Kyle Tucker. This is all according to Ken Rosenthal. For the Cubs, which to me makes the better option, Astros want Isaac Paredes, third baseman, and Suzuki. John Heyman later added that they would also want their first-round picks, who are either third base Cam Smith or shortstop Matt Shaw. Tucker, like I said, Tucker would likely get over $400 million. Zo sets over $500 million. Like I said earlier, without Kyle Tucker, the Astros were an AL best 48-31 from June 4th to September 5th. The Yankees are also a suitor for Kyle Tucker. However, the Astros, according to reports, wanted Rookie of the Year Luis Gil along with additional, pieces added. And the Yankees are not comfortable with that. So they're still trying to make it work. I've heard the Phillies name is also one that you need to watch out for, Kyle Tucker, especially with Alex Bohm, that the Phillies are looking to move him as well. So an Alex Bohm for Kyle Tucker trade, along with some additional pieces here and there, that could be, a little bang for your buck there. However, to me, the better deal, in my opinion, is the one with the Cubs. I like the idea if you're not going to sign Alex Bregman, that's fine. You save some money there. Trade Kyle Tucker, Okay, save some money there. You're not going to pay him that arbitration. You bring a 26-year-old Isaac Paredes, who had a great 2023 season, however, not so great 2024 season. So you can he's still under arbitration for 2-3 more years. He's 26 years old. You can kind of argue with what he needs to get there. And Suzuki, who, again, has a bunch of years under control, and a first rounder for Kyle Tucker. Although I know the Astros love Kyle Tucker and they want to keep him for at least 1 more year. That's a trade you can't give up on that one. To me, that's a great trade. Now, I don't think the Astros trade with the Yankees, and for multiple reasons. I don't think the Yankees are going to be willing to give up what the Astros want, and it comes back to that AO rivalry. As you can see in the playoffs, the Astros and Yankees tend to see each other often in recent years, and I don't think the Astros are going to be want to face Kyle Tucker in the postseason during the regular season. So ship him out to the National League. Then the Cubs make the best place for the Astros. Now, I think he gets done. To me, Framber Valdez is likely to stay this year. Kyle Tucker, I don't see him being an Astro any longer because I think, although Max Fried signed a contract over, I think it was $218 million with the Yankees, I feel you can work a trade out with Framber Valdez. I feel you can work out a deal with Framber Valdez. I really do. Kyle Tucker, that's going to be that's a lot more question marks, and I don't see the Astros paying him what he wants or what he deserves. Now, Zo did add his piece. Again, this is not a full steam ahead episode without Lorenzo. If you're just joining in again, Lorenzo will not be here this week. Hopefully, we have him back for next week. I did mention in the first few seconds of the episode. I'm not going to mention it again, but Zo hopefully will be here next week. So I'm taking over today. Thank you for being patient so far. But this is what Zo had to say about the whole Kyle Tucker saga. He said, the Astros need to trade Tucker, especially after that record-breaking deal Juan Soto received from the Mets. I know some Astros fans won't be happy about it, but this is what he gave 4 reasons or 4 ideas why it makes sense to trade Kyle Tucker. This is what I have to say. The farm system is not one of the best in baseball. You need to receive a mixture of prospects or MLB ready players now. If you trade with Chicago, you have an opportunity to receive guys like Isaac Bregman, Suya Suzuki, Jordan Wicks, Cam Smith, Matt Shaw, or Owen Cassidy. If you trade with New York, you have an opportunity to receive guys like Jason Dominguez, Spencer Jones, Luis Gil, Everson Pereira, Clark Smith, Marcus Stroman. There are just names that could be part of the package. This helps replenish the farm system, and you'll still be competing in the AL West. Framber is tricky because the Astros still have pitchers coming off the injuries, so I just don't see him being traded. However, in my opinion, Hunter Brown is now the ace of the staff. Hot take there. Now, I will say this, which I don't think it'll happen, but I will say this because I agree with Lorenzo 100%. I'm sure most of y'all do too. Now, if the Astros are not in contention for the playoffs, say something miraculously happened, but again, I doubt it. Just when you have Jose Altuve and Jordan Alvarez in that lineup, I feel, especially with that 3-team playoffs, you always need to be in contention. However, if the Astros miraculously are out of the postseason picture, they've slumped really bad, injuries, or they're just not playing well, Framber Valdez will be moved in the trade deadline. Now, if the Astros are competing first in the division or a little games off, as you saw, even if they start slow, 10-game win streak, they came back. Then, if you trade Tucker, you replenish that farm system. Now you have trade pieces to get a big name guy, right? Because that's basically what Lorenzo's saying. The Astros farm system is not the best. It was ranked 30th out of 30 teams. Dead last, basically. Now, I will give them this. They did win the Pacific Coast League. So they have ballers out there. I'm not going to say that no one in that team could potentially be ready for the playoffs. I mean, for the postseason. I mean, for the season in general. Jake Bloss came in, did pretty good. You had other guys that did not do good. Joey Lupifito came out of there and did good, right? So you have guys that are ballers could compete. However, still ranked 30th. The Astros, I believe, only have maybe one prospect in the top 100, or if any at all. I have to double check on that. But getting rid of Tucker and bringing in those guys, I feel it's the best thing to do for the Astros and for the future of the Astros. I don't see them trading Framber Valdez only if they're not doing good by the trade deadline. Then no move him. After that, I think they ride with Kyle Tucker, with Framber Valdez, and that's because one thing that Dana Brown is really adamant about is you can never have too much pitching. And I don't think although his name did come up just to kind of stir the pot, I would say, if Dana Brown's going to be preaching that you can never have too much pitching, why would you trade a guy that can potentially get you where you need to be? I still think Lorenzo said Hunter Brown is the ace of the staff. I still think it's Framber Valdez this year. I think Framber Valdez gets the ball on opening day, followed by Hunter Brown, no doubt. Now, after that is to be Ronald Blanco, Spencer Arrighetti, and then a new guy, or if Luis Garcia is ready, JP France is ready, or even Lance McCullers is ready, that'll be your fifth guy. But as of right now, if you trade Framber Valdez, yes, you may get a major league ready piece. You still have some options in the free agent market, but as of right now, as much as Kyle Tucker is valuable to this team, right now at this point, I think Framber Valdez is a little bit more valuable just because with the injuries you have seen happen with the Astros. They were counting on Luis Garcia to be back. Didn't happen. They were counting on JP France to be a big part of the rotation. Didn't happen. Jose Urquidy too. He was supposed to step in and be that fifth. Didn't happen. Lance McCullers was supposed to pitch this year. Didn't happen. Right? So to me, keeping Framber Valdez right now is a little bit more valuable. Trade Kyle Tucker, get those pieces you need to hopefully make a big splash in the trades that get a trade deadline if you're in contention. To me, that's the best move. Again, let the comments, whatever you think. Let's start some debate. Again, it's just me talking. So I would love to hear your opinions, what y'all think, what are y'all feeling, what's basically some thoughts, right, about Astros baseball. But a lot to talk about, literally. That was a mouthful. Like, it's crazy because when I first saw Kyle Tucker's name, my first reaction was like, no way you trade that guy. But as you think about it, as we just recapped, the Astros are not going to sign him. You're going to lose him in 2025 regardless. Might as well get something out of him. So, to me, that's the best move for the Astros. Our boss, Jesus Ortiz, who is part of the RSK network, says he had a source tell him that it's likely that Kyle Tucker will be traded within the next 48 to 72 hours. He said the Cubs are the best suitor, have the best chance to getting him. So maybe Astros are enticed with receiving those two major league ready guys, and I think Isaac Baez and C.S. Suzuki. But don't be surprised if the Yankees are there too. So a lot of going on. We'll have another episode, hopefully, if Kyle Tucker does get moved, so we can talk about reactions, what the deal took place, and all that good stuff. But yeah, to me, signing Alex Bregman, less than 50% chance. I'm saying like maybe 20-25% chance Alex Bregman is an Astro again. Trading Kyle Tucker, that's like an 85% chance for me. Give your rating in the comments. Tell us, what do you think? How likely is to you, from percentage wise, how likely is Kyle Tucker being traded? How likely do you think the Astros sign Alex Bregman? I would love to hear that feedback. But we'll have more of that conversation once it does happen. Another thing that happened in the Astros winter meetings is that they drafted 5 guys. They made 5 selections in the minor league Rule 5 draft. And a biggest need that they have is pitching. So what did the Astros do? They selected 4 pitchers and 1 infielder. Now, they selected 3 right-handed pitchers, and that's Julio Rodriguez, Gene Pinto, Anderson Vito. They drafted a left-handed pitcher in Nick Swiney, and they drafted a shortstop in Jack Bloomgren. Now, again, it's the Rule 5 draft, so all of these guys are players who have been in the minor leagues for 5 years and that have not been placed on the 40-man roster. So it's just to protect these guys. The reason we have the Rule 5 draft to protect these guys and making sure that they get opportunities elsewhere, not just stuck in the minor leagues for their entire careers, right? So uh, before I move on, Astro Warcraft said, I like the Cubs trade. I think we could contend without Tucker or Bregman. And Astro Credit, Zo and I agree with you. I think if that deal happens, replacing Bregman with Isaac Paredes and getting Suzuki for Tucker, especially in the AL West, I think they can be contenders. So appreciate Astro Wolf Craig for that comment. I agree with you 100%. Now, let me tell you about these guys. Let's start with right-handed pitcher Julio Rodriguez. He's 24 years old. He's from the Giants organization. He was 5-0 with a 3.48 ERA in 38 relief appearances across 3 levels in San Francisco's organization. So this guy went from single A, double A, and triple A, pitching all those 3 levels. And to come out of that with a combined ERA of 3.48, only 24 years old, I think that was a good haul for the Astros there, for a team that desperately needs relief pitching and starting pitching. JIm Pinto is 23 years old. He made 22 appearances, including 17 starts in the Orioles minor league system in 2024. He combined to go 3-2 with a 3.10 ERA. He held his opponents to a 2.29 average while striking out 101 hitters in 81.1 innings. That's pretty remarkable there for a 23-year-old. It doesn't matter if it's in single A, double A, triple A, or even in like the winter league or anything like that. That's pretty phenomenal stuff right there. So the obviously Astros got like something they seen in Pinto, and even if they didn't, like even if his ERA was not so great, like I said this before too, Astros are a great team to get the best out of pitchers, and these are guys that they saw they can get. They either have a nick in their command that they can change, or they have something that they really like about these guys. Anderson Beatles, 25. He was selected out of the Rockies organization, where he split his season between Class A and Double A, combining to post a 3.9 ERA in 25 appearances. Nick Sweeney was a left-handed pitcher they got. He pitched his entire 2024 season at Double A Richmond in the Giants organization, going 4-2 with a 5.25 ERA and 41 appearances, including 2 starts. So, like I said, ERA might not be pretty. Guy's only been in Double A, but the Astros obviously saw something they liked. They need left-handed pitching. This could be a pick that maybe in a year or two it could be like a Tyler Scott pickup where it wasn't pretty. They were able to adjust this mechanical issue a little bit and became what to me should have been an all-star, right? So it could be a move like that. And then they also drafted a shortstop, Jack Blomgren, like I said earlier. He's 26, hit 279 with 10 extra base hits and an 8.29 OPS and 34 games in the Rockies minor league system in 2024. Busy day for the winter meetings, honestly, for the Astros. And although the winter meetings are finally over, Dana Brown's phone, I'm sure, is still ringing, still talking to people as we speak, trying to either work out a deal or bring in guys that are going to help this ball club win. Now, the Juan Soto deal just stirred the market up high, and it's only going to get greater from that. I don't think a guy anytime soon, maybe in 2-3 years, will get as much of a contract, but now it's going to be a norm that these guys are getting 400, 500 million. It's be a norm for baseball, especially if you're a superstar like Kyle Tucker, which I see him getting like that. So that is pretty much it. The reason why we take an hour on when it's Lorenzo and I is because we love having these debates, love having these back and forth and agreeing with each other, disagreeing, giving our thoughts. But when it's one person, it usually goes faster. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm a short one, 30 minutes. Go watch Thursday Night Football. So I'm sure you probably have us on your phone and watching the game anyway. So thank you for your grace. Thank you for patience. Thank you for tuning in. I don't think we lost anybody, even though it's just me myself. Thoughts and prayers to Lorenzo. Wish to have him here soon. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.